God. And that's where we learn our work ethic. That's where we learn about the fact that the world isn't all about me, that we have to work together in order for things to happen. That's where we get a good relationship, and we're finding not only is it a social kind of a thing, but it's also biological, that our children really need to have that mother and father there to trigger certain things as we're growing up in our minds and in our bodies.
Well, let me challenge you on this, Karen, because we've heard very much over talking about the sovereignty of the individual, and the way that you just described it, we've got the federal level, the state level, there's always the county level and the local government, and then you had the family down here. I would posit, and I will challenge you on this, shouldn't it be that it should be flipped upside down, that really what we have forgotten is that, as Ovid said, and as the Patriot Pastor said, we are endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights. Shouldn't it be that we put the family and the individuals on top and everything else flows downward from there instead of the opposite?
Well, I'm not saying that government should flow downwards. I'm saying that that's we have this great big structure that we always look at. And people do talk about the federal government and the state government first. And in fact, even when you're trying to talk about state government, you many times flow into federal government. And my point is that we do have to go back and we have to look at that basic building block. And yes, you're absolutely right. It starts with our endowed, inalienable right given to us by our Creator, and that's life. If we don't have life, it doesn't matter whether we pass a law or not pass a law. That life is necessary in order to use the law. But the other part that we often forget is that it's the mother and the father together, working together, that keep that family, that make that microcosm of government. And then as we multiply that and get into communities and eventually moving it up to the state and the federal level.
And thank you for all the work that you do, Karen, and keep the flame alive. I have to agree that families as opposed to welfare is the best foundation for your citizens and stable person health. We see the destruction of the roads in the inner cities, especially by federal welfare programs, and it's heartbreaking. If anybody had known at the time, maybe architects did, maybe actually we know where they live, but if anybody had known at the time how great society would be if we now.
Well, it's interesting. If you really go back in history, all the way back to the founding of America, you'll find that we had I can't even remember what his name is, Bradwell, Bradford. He actually tried socialism and it didn't work. So they went to the more capitalist thing where you take care of your family, and then the families together provide the community for the welfare of those who are unfortunate or have hard times upon them. And we went forward into the Civil War. When we got to the Civil War, we found that we had some veterans and wives and widows that needed our help, and so we broke away from that individual type thing, and the government provided a little bit of welfare. And then we went back to that individual. It was up to the families doing things. And then as we moved forward to World War II, we had the progressives in mind, and they instituted Social Security for a very small group of people. Well, instead of, once they'd taken care of that small group of people, they decided they were going to expand it to everybody else, and so now we have this entitlement mentality rather than the personal responsibility, which is what made this country a great country.
Right. In fact, I did post a piece up on Granite Rock. That is actually something else that somebody else had written, but it encapsulates this whole idea of how we have gotten to where we are so wonderfully. Let me scroll down to it. Just a second. Compulsory Charity is the name of it. You can go read this on granitrock.com. These are not my words. It's just something I ran across and decided to put it up. We are a generous nation. Americans help those who are going through a difficult time until they can get back on their feet. There was a time when such help by American taxpayers was referred to as being on charity, and it was considered a blessing. And that's important, and I emphasize that. It was considered a blessing, a temporary blessing. It was part of what made this country a great country. We later started calling it somewhat chillier government relief, and then the more sterile public assistance. Now it is something to which many feel entitled from cradle to grave, never being on their feet to begin with, making getting back on their feet a non-starter. We are now at the point where easing back on the charity is viewed as stealing. In fact, raising taxes on someone, even someone who earns more money than most of us, to give to someone else is actually stealing. Perhaps Obama and the far left can start referring to tax hikes as compulsory charity in order to sugarcoat what is really going on. And that really is. We've seen that continuum where people expect that help, not to be thankful for it, not to consider it temporary, they're not anymore considering it to be a hand-up charity. They're saying, it is mine to take. You owe it to me. And if you are more fortunate, as they keep saying over and over again, and I'm so tired of that phrase. Well, those who are more fortunate among us know in a lot of cases a little bit of luck, but most of them have just outworked the rest of us. And to call them the most fortunate, I'm sorry, I just can't buy that.
Oh, I agree. I agree totally, because it is that you owe me a living. I remember then when it was, the world does not owe you a living. Get out there and put your own hard work behind it. And that's basically what Davy Crockett said on the floor of the Congress was, it is not mine to give. And and he would not vote the second time round. He did the first time round, made that mistake, but he quickly realized it was not government's right to give away somebody else's money, to take it from one pocket and put it in another pocket.
Well, what are you up to now, Karen?
Well, I am starting a new organization, and our focus is going to be to get marriage on the ballot for the people of New Hampshire to vote on it. And that measure would say marriage is between a man and a woman. It would be a definition that we would solidify in our Constitution. Now, whether or not the people of New Hampshire want to okay that is not the point. The people of New Hampshire elected the current general court with the primary purpose that they would make sure that this got on the ballot for the people to vote on it.
Okay, well, stay in touch with us, and when you have that all finalized and you start to do things, get in touch with us. We'll have you on Grok Talk, our Saturday morning internet radio show, and at events like this, when we get the chance, we'll put you on, and you can share that information with us.
Okay, thank you, Skip, and I really appreciate your hosting me on this.
Well, and Karen, when you need to find out what's going on in the conservative world here in New Hampshire, where do you go to?
Granite Rock.
Well, thank you very much, Karen.
You're welcome.